What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Fantasy Stock Exchange here. Today, I'll be going through my top streamers entering week 10 of fantasy football players at the quarterback, tight end, and defensive positions. Whether you're facing bye weeks, injuries, you name it, can get you over the hump, can get you in securing that dub in week 10 of fantasy football. As I say every video, we are in crunch time. You guys need to win these games. You guys need to win every game possible to secure your spot in your fantasy football playoffs. Well, some of these guys on today's video are going to help you secure the dub in week 10 of fantasy football. Shout out for a lot of you guys who picked up Justin Fields this past week. I had like 45, 50 points for you guys in your lineups and was on this streamers video last week. So appreciate you guys for that consistent support. If you guys are watching this video, let's try to get this video to over 150 likes. So if you guys are watching, enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like down below. Also hit the subscribe button. We're currently on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Appreciate you guys for that continued support. But before we get into the video, as always, as you guys know, we got to hit the intro. All right, I'm going to try to rapid fire these off, try to keep these as digestible as possible for you guys. Onto the quarterback position. My number one, long-term pickup. I'll talk about my three main streamers this week. But if you're in a pinch and you want some upside at the quarterback position, someone that you could stash for the fantasy football playoffs, Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns is your number one option. As we know, when this guy's on the field, he's a clear superstar, top 5 to 10 level quarterback in the league. He's going to be set to return in week 13 against the Houston Texans. So I try to pick him up now if you don't have so much upside at the quarterback position. And of course, when he comes back, this is a legitimate fantasy MVP caliber player. But now let's go on to the streamers for week 10. Obviously, some people can't wait till week 13. You got to win games now, whether you're like 4-5, 3-6, 5-4, etc. You name it. Some people can't wait at the quarterback position. So for names that you can play this week that I'd feel comfortable putting into my lineup, the number one quarterback option is going to be Daniel Jones, quarterback of the New York Giants, going up at home against the Houston Texans. And the reason why I'm in on Daniel Jones this week, he's quarterback 17 on the year, quarterback 16 in fantasy points per game. And this is a player that represents legit Konami code upside. 46 rushing yards per game about on the season for Daniel Jones. Now he faces a Houston defense that has conceded 23 points per game. They're at home, and he's an implied 6.5 home favorite this week. I expect Daniel Jones to pick up exactly where he left off the week prior to the Giants bye week and offers a top 15 level projection going up against a Houston team that should be overmatched against this Giants team. Giants, again, 6.5 favorites at home. I think that spread might even be a little lenient on the Houston side. I expect the Giants to run away with this game. Next game, Jared Goff, quarterback of the Detroit Lions, going up against the Chicago Bears on the road, and he's averaging about 34.4 passing attempts per game on the season, and a Detroit offense that looks to pick up where it left off prior to the last few down weeks against the Bears that is conceding 24 points per game and has now lost Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, their two best defensive players, trade in recent weeks prior to the trade deadline. Goff is quietly fantasy's quarterback 15 on the season, and he's honestly looked good in stretches. With a healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown and potentially a healthy Swift in a game that the Lions are implied for 25.5 points, I expect Jared to return to that fringe top 15 level quarterback value that he was providing up until this week. Next streamer, I like Marcus Mariota, quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, going on to play the Carolina Panthers again in an interdivisional affair similar to that of Jared Goff with the Lions going against Chicago. When it comes to Marcus Mariota, he's currently the quarterback 12 in fantasy football, and I get it. He's had a season of ups and downs thus far in terms of his fantasy production. The passing volume has been the main concern when it comes to Marcus Mariota, but he gives you 4.71 additional points per game with his legs, his rushing yards and touchdowns on the season. And I think he gives you a good baseline on a week-to-week basis based off this rushing production. He's been volatile, as we know. He's had some highs, he's had some lows this season, but he does have a great weapon score and that dual threat ability that we crave in fantasy football. If Arthur Smith is able to open up this playbook from a perspective, Mariota has a top 10 level ceiling on any given week, but for my rankings and expectations, he'll more so slot into that quarterback 15 to 20 type of range this week going up against the Carolina Panthers. So Marcus Mariota, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones should be your top streamers at the quarterback position, owned in under 50% of Yahoo leagues. Tight end position, Greg Dulcich, tight end of the Denver Broncos, goes on the road to play the Tennessee Titans. 17 targets for Greg Dulcich in the last 3 games he's played since taking over as that Broncos pure tight end 1 prior to their bye week this past week. He looks like he can be this year's Pat Freiermuth, a good, young, athletic tight end showing flashes in his rookie season. I honestly think rest of the season, he's a fringe top 10 to 12 level tight end option for me. And again, if he's available in your league, maybe you have Mark Andrews dealing with some injury issues. I think you can stream Greg Dulcich against the Titans. And I think he can potentially be that savior for you down the stretch rest of the season. Same thing with Cade Otton, tight end of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going up against the Seattle Seahawks in the Germany 9:30 a.m. game. Cade Otton's case, again, like I said, is very similar to that of Greg Dulcich. Impressive rookie tight end, coming off a 5 reception, 68-yard and touchdown day against the Rams. Oddly enough, the game-winning touchdown in that game when Tom Brady drove him down with 45 seconds left. I genuinely think that, like Greg Dulcich, Cade Otton could potentially give you top 15 level production at the tight end position rest of the season. Plus targets in 5 of his last 6 games. He's developing a consistent tertiary role for Brady on this Bucs offense. On, again, a Bucs offense that is throwing the ball over 40 times per game at this current rate. Again, if you have Mark Andrews, maybe you're dealing with Darren Waller potentially not. I think that either of these top 2 tight end options with Cade Otton and Greg Dulcich can not only be a priority pickup for you this week, but could potentially be a priority pickup for you rest of the season. Again, top 15 level baseline for both of these young tight ends. And then finally, Cole Kmet, tight end of the Chicago Bears, going up against the Detroit Lions. And it's honestly been a gross season when it comes to Cole Kmet in this, Chicago offense as a whole, but he's quietly scored 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games and now faces a Lions defense that has been a sieve at stopping opposing offenses this year. And although I mentioned that Chicago's offense for the most part on the year was struggling, these last 5 or so games, man, Justin Fields looks like an absolute star in the making. He looks like the next, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, if you will, mobile, scrambling type of quarterback. Keep this offense afloat. And although Cole Kmet doesn't get a ton of volume compared to the other 2 options that I mentioned at tight end, he has a very good opportunity in a game that Chicago is expected to keep close with the Detroit Lions this week to score another touchdown. So his week-to-week target output, like I said, has not been great. But again, coming off a big game, I expect him to continue that level of play we saw on display this past week going up against the Miami Dolphins. But transitioning off the tight end position, let's go on to DSTs. And my number 1 DST stream of the week is going to be the New Orleans Saints going on the road to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, an abysmal Pittsburgh Steelers offense, might I mention. 19 implied total for this week when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost Chase Claypool on an already dysfunctional offense in Pittsburgh. And let's put it simple. Let's not sugarcoat it. Kenny Pickett has struggled this year, and this Steelers offensive line should be overwhelmed by this Saints front. I think this is a clear bounce back spot for the Saints after a disappointing Monday Night Football game against the Baltimore Ravens. I expect the Saints to get up early and often in this game, and for Kenny Pickett and the Steelers offense as a whole to struggle. Number 2 defensive stream of the week is going to be the Denver Broncos going on the road to play the Tennessee Titans. Titans have 18 implied team total this week for their offense. Clearly, Vegas is not expecting the Titans to score a ton of points in this matchup, and validly so. I mean, the status of Ryan Tannehill is still up in the air. We don't know if it's going to be Malik Willis. We don't know if it's going to be Ryan Tannehill. And on the Broncos side, they are a legitimate top 5 level defense in the NFL. I expect this to be a low scoring, muddy type of game between 2 defensive focused type of teams. And as we know, I mean, the Titans on the other side have an elite defense. The Broncos have an elite defense. I expect this to be the biggest slugfest of the entire NFL slate going into week 10. Finally, my 3rd defensive stream of the week is going to be the New York Giants going to play the Houston Texans at home. Texans have a 17.5 implied team total this week. And the Giants defense has actually been one of the most surprising units in the entire NFL this year. I think, like I said earlier with Daniel Jones, I expect the Giants to get up early, often at home this week. I think the Giants can put their foot on the gas pedal against a bad Texans team that really has no incentive to win games going out. I think the Giants defense can smother a struggling Texans offense, maybe without Nico Collins yet again. So overall, New Orleans, Denver, New York Giants, top defensive streamers. Cole Kmet, Cade Otton, and Greg Dulcich, top tight end streamers. And then at the quarterback position, Marcus Mariota, Jared Goff, and Daniel Jones. But either way, if you made it to the end of the video, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button. Again, goal 150 likes on this video. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Good luck in your matchups. Hopefully, if you guys have not already seen it, go check out that waivers video I put out earlier this morning. But until then, we will see you Thursday night for our live stream prior to Thursday Night Football. And like I said, good luck in your matchups. Take care.
Why you need the money?